And welcome back to CM Rankings and Reviews. Today I thought I would rank all the Marvel Cinematic Universe heroes from these tiers on here. There are 68 of them. I did not create this tier list, so if a character is missing, I did not make it. But anyway, let's get into this list. Well, first off, please hit the subscribe button down below. It does my channel a lot of good. And also, Moon Knight is not on here. Neither is Kate Bishop. So I'll just tell you where I would place them. Moon Knight as a character, I would probably put in B or A tier. And then Kate Bishop is C tier. But let's get into the actual list. First up, we have Tilda Swinton's, Sorcerer Supreme. I enjoyed her character. I really did. I thought she was very important to the first Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed her relationship with Benedict Cumberbatch. It just worked really well, in my opinion. The Ancient One is a character that works, but she also doesn't have very much. It was nice to see her return in What If and Avengers Endgame, but other than that, she doesn't really do much. I'll put her in C tier. She's cool, but does not offer much. M'Baku is a character that they haven't done much with. I feel like in the future there's going to be a lot more done with his character. I feel that he is going to be very important to Black Panther 2, and what we've got from him so far, I think deserves to put him in the B tier. He is funny. He offers a couple humorous moments, but other than that, he doesn't have very much to his character, but I think there's a lot more to come. The Wasp is a character that I actually really enjoy. I don't really know what everybody thinks about her because nobody really talks about the Ant-Man movies. I love Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's in my top 10 for MCU movies, and she's definitely a B-tier character. I would say she is better than M'Baku. She's very fun, and her action scenes are honestly, I like the Wasp's action scenes better than some of Ant-Man's. Not all of his, but some of his, and I can't wait to see Ant-Man 3. Mantis. Mantis is a character they haven't done really anything with. There's nothing really too special to her character because we haven't seen very much of her. We know somewhat of her backstory, but other than that, she was kind of underutilized in like everything she's appeared in. She's in Thor, Love and Thunder coming up, but I don't think she's going to be utilized. She's in this new Guardians team that she's a part of ever since Guardians 2. She's actually been fairly quiet, and she doesn't actually do much. She almost did defeat Thanos, but other than that, not a very big character. Ant-Man. Now, when I said that I loved the Wasp's action scenes better, I definitely love his Ant-Man's character more. Paul Rudd just brings so much to the role. He's so funny. What they did with his character in Endgame works so well, and I can't wait to see what they do with him again in Ant-Man 3. Next up, Jimmy Woo. I absolutely love Jimmy Woo. He's hilarious, but we've only seen him in WandaVision and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he hasn't been the most important character, so I'm going to put him in the C tier solely because we haven't gotten much of him, and I do want that kind of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show with him that has been rumored. That'd be pretty cool because Randall Park is great. He's great in the sitcom Fresh Off the Boat. He's just a great actor, and he brings a lot, and I do want to see his character again. Next up, Janet Van Dyne. We don't get much of her character, honestly. She's better than Mantis, but we don't get much of her in the movies. The first Ant-Man movie, she's barely in it. Second Ant-Man movie, not in it very much. She's in Endgame, but she's going to be a much bigger role in Ant-Man 3, and I can't wait to see that. But what we've gotten so far, I haven't been the biggest fan of. Okoye is a character that, again, Black Panther 2 is going to really determine, her character going forward in the MCU. I'm going to put her in the A tier. I love Okoye. I think her action scenes are great, and she's just a fun character overall. Denai Guerrero does a great job. Next up, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Rest in peace. He was a great actor. Black Panther is such a great character. I don't know if I can put him in S tier, but I will put him in high A tier. Maybe as the list goes on, I might move him. I'm kind of teetering. His character works extremely well. The maturity and just how Black Panther T'Challa as a character handles himself around the other Avengers, he's just one of the coolest characters in the MCU. Bucky Barnes is a character that he's a character I've gone the most up and down on. First Avenger, he was okay. Winter Soldier, didn't really have a character, but he was pretty cool. Civil War, he was okay. And then Infinity War, Endgame, Black Panther, he's just kind of there. I don't think he's really come into his own until Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where I think he's earned his place on the B tier, where I like to see him pop up in more things, because now Sebastian Stan just brings so much to the character, and I really loved his character. Next up is Mobius from Loki. This is Owen Wilson's character, and I think he belongs in the B tier, and I will put him in high B tier. I will put him above Bucky Barnes. He's just so funny, and I wish we would have gotten him in like Doctor Strange 2, but I hope we see him in Loki Season 2, and I really just want to see Owen Wilson in this role again in the future. He did such a great job. Next up, Captain Marvel. I gotta put her in C tier, below Jimmy Woo, honestly. I don't want to say much about her character because there's not much there. She's doesn't have a lot of emotions in the movies because she does have memory loss, and what they do with her character just I don't think worked very well. Next up, Darcy, D tier. I never loved her character. I know some people like her, especially after WandaVision, but to me, she just doesn't work. She's kind of annoying, honestly, and she's gotten on my nerves quite a bit. Next up, Mordo. We got to see him in Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange 2, except for the fact that it was a different variant. Therefore, just solely based on Doctor Strange, the first movie, I got to put him in C tier. The end credit scene was very cool, so I will move him ahead of Captain Marvel. But other than that, I don't think there's very much that they do with this character. Next up, Rachel Weisz's character. Melania is her name. I haven't rewatched a lot of the Phase 4 movies yet, so I'm kind of still iffy on some of their names. But I really enjoyed her character. I got to put her in C tier. I think C tier is going to be a pretty popular tier just because it's kind of average, middle of the road. Next up, Rocket Raccoon, S tier. This might be controversial, but I think Rocket is one of the deepest. He has some of the best character development of any character in the MCU. What they do with this character is great. The tragedy with this character, but also the comedy and how he works with every Guardian is by far the highlights of the Guardians movies. And I can't wait to see him in Thor 4 and Guardians 3, which by the looks of some of the leaked set photos, I think we're going to be getting a lot more of his backstory. Ross doesn't do much. I got to put him in D tier. I'll put him top D tier. Martin Freeman does a good enough job, but he's just not in it. He's not in the MCU enough. He's appeared in quite a few things, but not in enough. So we still got a lot of characters to go, so I might just hurry it up a little bit. But before we do, I just want to remind you to check out some other my MCU videos. If you enjoyed this video, I do a lot of tier lists as well, so you can check out that playlist. But let's get into the next character, Groot. He's getting his own show of shorts. I don't know. Technically he is a different character from Baby Groot, but I will classify them as the same character. I will put him in A tier just because I'll put him in high B tier. He's a great character in the sense of he's the good comic relief and he does his job. He also has one of the most emotional moments in the whole MCU with the We Are Groot scene. That was pretty cool. Hank Pym is a character that I also believe is in the B tier, and I will put him in high B tier. I will put him above Mobius, but below the Wasp, and I will put the Wasp still ahead of Groot. Hank Pym, Michael Douglas does a great job. He's kind of snarky. He's kind of an old man. Like, he's got the old man personality. typical old man, where he's just kind of crabby, rough around the edges, but he's still a fun character. Heimdall is a character that is a C tier character. I think Thor Ragnarok really elevated his character, I think he was in What If. I'm not sure, but his character in the first two Thor movies wasn't great. We got flashbacks of him in Age of Ultron, and we saw him in Infinity War. Idris Elba was a great actor, but the MCU is just never a great fit for him, so I think he is bottom C tier. Next up, Hulk, who's going in the A tier. Hulk's also going to the top of the A tier. With She-Hulk coming up, I think he could easily be moved up. He's gotten one movie, one solo movie, and I hope they do another solo movie. He's a great character, and I love Mark Ruffalo's portrayal of the character. Gamora is honestly another A-tier character. I enjoyed what they did with her character with Thanos, and I enjoyed that whole Infinity War aspect. I think that really worked with her character, and it was just really cool to see. Next up is like B-Fifth, 155, Hunters. I know this character. I don't know her name very well. I know her from Loki, but if I can't even remember her name, she's not very memorable, but I do remember having some really important... She does have a lot of important scenes in Loki, so I will put her above Rachel Weisz's character, but I don't have much to say about her character. Next up, Drax, played by Dave Bautista. Drax is a character who, in the first movie, he was used a lot different from how he's used now. And, now he's a lot more comic relief. I mean, he was always comic relief, but I feel like they've really started like making his character a lot more goofy, maybe, than what he used to be. So I will put him in B tier. He is probably one of the funniest characters, and I will put him in top of B tier. He's just such a funny character, but what they do with this family, and there's like the family tragedy aspect of the character in Guardians 1 works for me, but I feel like they've kind of lost that. And just his relationship with his daughter and his wife, we never see them. I hope we get flashbacks, but it does mean a lot to him. Next up, Tony Stark, going S tier, going top S tier. Tony Stark is such a phenomenal character. Iron Man, he's great. Robert Downey Jr. brings so much to the character. He's probably my favorite character in the whole MCU. His trilogy is decent in my opinion, but I feel like his interactions with everybody else in the Avengers movies, in Civil War, I just love his character, and he's honestly one of my just favorite movie characters. He's just so great as a character. Next up, Korg. He's another B tier character. He's very funny, and I cannot wait to see him in the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder, because he's going to be in that movie a lot more. But other than that, doesn't offer much. Next up, Nakia. This is T'Challa's former love interest from Black Panther. She's going to be playing a huge part in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and I actually really enjoyed her character. She's B tier character, honestly. Just based on what we've gotten so far, I feel like she could easily make it into the A tier. But from what we've gotten so far, she's definitely B tier. Nebula, going A tier, going top of A tier. Nebula is a tragic character, a character that with Endgame really made her character a standout. Before Endgame, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, she wasn't in it very much. We didn't know her character. Volume 2, we got to learn more about her character. We learned more about kind of how she acted and stuff. But I think Infinity War and Endgame really solidified her character. Next up, Nick Fury. He is going in the A tier, and he's going top. You know what? I'll put him behind T'Challa. He's the cameo Palooza guy. He appears in everything. That's all his character really is to his character. But I absolutely love him. Oh, Peggy Carter. I will be including Agent Carter as with her character, even though it's a variant. I think Haley Atwell does a very good job. However, her show was decent. Agent Carter, I know it's not technically MCU canon, but I will say she is B tier, and I will say she is better than Korg and Groot, because what they've done with her character lately has just worked very well. Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver is E tier. I'm not a particular fan of his character. I don't really care for him all that much. He's not in it, but that's all I got to say about his character. Next up, Hawkeye. Hawkeye's going A tier. I love Hawkeye as a character. I thought his show was actually going to make me like his character more, but honestly, it almost made me like him less in a way, just because he's not in his own show very much. And I know it's the Hawkeye mantle, not necessarily Jeremy Renner's version, but I just wish we would have gotten more of his character in there. Loki is an S tier character in my opinion. Loki is hilarious. What they've done with all the fake out deaths doesn't bother me, and I think his show really made him a great character. He has so much character development. It's just he's a great character. Peter Quill or Star-Lord is another A tier character, and I will put him though behind Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. Chris Pratt does a great job. Don't get me wrong, he's a hilarious character, but he also has a lot of tragedy. The opening of Guardians of the Galaxy is still one of the most emotionally raw moments in the MCU. Thor is a character who I want to put in S tier, and you know what? I will. What they've done with this character lately, I've been such a fan of. Even Endgame. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Fat Thor, and that whole fat aspect of that kind of making it as a joke. It didn't bother me that much, but what they do with the tragedy of his life just works so much for me. Next up, Red Guardian. He's hilarious. That's all I gotta say. Not much to his character. Classic Loki from Loki. Honestly, D tier. He doesn't do, I'll put him in C tier. He doesn't do very much in the MCU. I'm surprised they actually put him on this list. He doesn't do a lot, and that's, yeah. Next up, Sam Wilson or the new Captain America. Still not a fan of him. I know his show was supposed to make me love him as a character, but I just don't care for his character all that much. Next up, Shuri, C tier. She's funny, but doesn't offer much. They try to make her so smart and such a genius level. I will put her above Heimdall, below Mordo. Doesn't do much. Again, Black Panther 2 is really going to show what she's got as a character. Next up, Doctor Strange, going in the A tier. I love Benedict Cumberbatch's performance. He's great. His two movies, I absolutely loved Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The first Doctor Strange, I like, but I think his portrayal as a character in like the two Avengers movies and Spider-Man No Way Home really and Thor Ragnarok really solidify him as a big member of the MCU. Talos, C tier, nothing much there. Sylvie, I'm going to start going quickly through these kind of smaller characters. Sylvie's a character that I'll put her top of C tier. Nothing much to her character. Odin, typical kind of father figure in like these types of movies, but I will put him in B tier just for kind of how powerful he is. Yeah. Is he going to be in Thor Love and Thunder? I don't know. It'd be nice to see him in there, but next up, Vision. Vision is a character who I think is redeemed by WandaVision. His character in WandaVision is so good that I gotta put him in B tier. Honestly, even though it's not really Vision, I still enjoy Paul Bettany. With these whole variant stuff and all this like different timelines, if it's the same actor portraying them, I'm including that as in their character, even though it's not like the Marvel 616 version, but just because. Next up, Monica Rambeau, C tier. I can't wait to see more of her, but honestly, B tier is getting pretty crowded, and I don't think we haven't gotten much of her, so. Rhodey is another A tier character. His relationship with Tony is some of the highlights of Endgame, some of the highlights of Civil War, and definitely the biggest highlight of Iron Man 2. I'll put him ahead of Peter Quill. Wong is starting to become one of my favorite MCU characters, so I'm going to put him top of B tier. He is so funny. He's popped up in like Shang-Chi. He was great in What If. He's just been great in like everything he's popped up in. He's just funny, and making him the Sorcerer Supreme, I know a lot of people have problems with that. It doesn't bother me too much. Looking at the rest of these characters, I don't think there actually will be any in the F tier because I don't think the MCU makes horrible characters. I mean, they do, but these heroes that they have on here aren't necessarily all bad. Next up, Wanda Maximoff, going in the F tier. Just kidding, she's going in the S tier. They have made her one of the best characters in the MCU. Some of the biggest tragedies have happened to her. She lost her brother. She was experimented on. Then she created a civil war that got to her. She lost Vision. She had to kill Vision. Then she created a whole world with Vision and her kids, and she lost that. And then Doctor Strange 2. She's honestly one of the most dynamic characters in the MCU. And that's why I got to put her up high. Ooh, Yelena Belova, becoming one of my favorite MCU characters too. Definitely a standout in Phase 4. I will put her in A tier solely on her appearance in Black Widow. Hawkeye, I thought she was okay, but Black Widow, she absolutely stole the show. Yondu is a character, I hope we see more of him in Guardians 3, even though he is, spoilers, dead. He's very important to the Guardians as characters, especially Peter Quill. And Michael Rooker does such a great job. I would be surprised if he doesn't appear in some sort of capacity, maybe like a flashback or of some kind. Black Widow is probably my least favorite of the original Avengers. I don't care for her character. Honestly, I think Groot's a better character. Her movie still did not really sell me on her character. I like her enough as a character, but I don't think I can put her any higher than B tier. Valkyrie is another C tier character. I haven't gotten much of her. We'll see more of her, though, in the future. Captain America, I don't like his character. I just don't. It doesn't work for me, and I don't know. He's really overrated. Just kidding. He's going in the S tier. He is going in the S tier easily. Cap. Chris Evans does a great job as a character. I don't know. Not much to say that hasn't been said on the internet already about him. Ned is a C tier character. He's very funny, but importance to the MCU, not so much. Tom Holland's Spider-Man, a lot of people absolutely love his character, Spider-Man. I like him as Spider-Man. I think he does do a pretty good job as a character, but I think he does belong in the A tier. Zendaya's character, MJ, I'll put her by Ned. They have the same purpose, basically, in the movies. They don't have that much importance. Mostly their importance lies with, just the character of Peter Parker. Okay, so we are starting off with the Eternal kind of leader before she kind of died, Ajak, played by Selma Hayek. D tier. We didn't get anything from her really in the movie. My least favorite Eternal. Okay, next up we have Kingo. Where's Kingo going to go? He's going to go into A tier. I love Kingo's character. He was hilarious. Kumail Nanjiani does a great job as a character. Next up is Katie from Shang-Chi. I will also put her in the C tier. Awkwafina does a fine job as the character. She offers some moments of levity, but other than that, I don't think she is going to be very high. Next up, Fastos, played by Brian Tyree Henry. B tier, and while I'm at it, I will also put Druig in the B tier and Makari in the B tier. I'm blanking on her name. Athena in the B tier. I also will put Gilgamesh in the B tier, and I will put Sprite in the E tier. Actually, she is my least favorite Eternal. What they did with her character, I did not care for. I know a lot of people might like her character, but to me, came off as annoying, and I don't know, just didn't care for her character all that much. These kind of 5 Eternals kind of all have the same. I kind of have the same view on them. I all enjoy their characters, and I can't wait to see them again. Next up, we have Shang-Chi's sister. I'm blanking on her name. She was okay. I'll put her in C tier. I'll put her bottom C tier. Shang-Chi, one of the most promising up-and-coming heroes in the MCU. How Simu Liu played the character wasn't great, in my opinion. I feel like he could have maybe played it a little better, but it felt very like kind of formulaic performance, but he was very good in the Icarus. I'll put Icarus in the B tier as well, and I will also put Cersei in the B tier. I think they're all kind of B tier level characters. Not much to any of their characters. I mean, they all have like personalities, but I've only seen Eternals once, and I don't remember very much about their individual characters, but I do remember enjoying certain aspects of their characters. There you guys have it. There are all 68 MCU heroes ranked on this tier list, and they are ranked from worst to best because I did move them around. Thank you guys so much for listening to this video and watching it. Hit the subscribe button down below. It does my channel a lot of good, and put on the notifications so you can stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, you can check out some more videos right now. Thanks for watching.